All right, my fellow Madridistas, welcome back to Madrid. Welcome back to Chamartin. Okay, let me give you guys. We play Girona tomorrow away, and I want to give you guys my, a couple of thoughts ahead of the match and the possible lineup. The injuries in the defensive line are incredible. Now it turns out Asensio has some sort of stomach infection. It's unbelievable. The injuries that we keep suffering in the defensive line that have been going on for 3 years are still plaguing us. But we'll talk about the possible lineup for the Girona match, and I'll get you guys up to speed on some other issues. We'll talk about Konate and some of the speculation about Konate coming over. We'll talk about the Chabi Vini situation. And I have to make a little comment about the press again, because it's just unbelievable. We'll talk about Enrique and his possible departure to Olympique Lyonnais on loan. And then we'll talk about, briefly about an interview with Laorta that was just really surreal. I mean, it's just these people live in a parallel universe. And then, of course, we'll talk about the Girona match. Thanks for joining me. As always, let's get started. Madridistas, welcome back. Okay, we'll talk about the possible lineup and the Girona match. But first, just a few things I want to get you guys up to speed on. Look, there was a lot of speculation about Real Madrid interest in Konate, coming over from Liverpool, and it's obvious. We are very clearly a defender short. I've been saying this for a while, and we keep getting plagued with injuries in the defensive line. So it's very natural that this kind of speculation would exist. By all accounts, Real Madrid has sent a communique to Liverpool saying that they will not be making an offer for Konate in the winter window. Now, it's hard to confirm this, but it does kind of come from good sources. And I think there are a couple of really good reasons why Real Madrid would do this. First of all, Real Madrid is a club that takes relations with other clubs really, really seriously. I don't think everybody knows this, but when other clubs come to Madrid to play in the Champions League, or when Real Madrid sends a delegation to away matches, they really go out of their way to maintain very, very good relations with other clubs. It's just part of the philosophy of the club, and something that Florentino Perez has taken very seriously, always. Emilio Butragueño right now is the head of institutional relations, and they always organize dinners and lunches with the entire management team. It's something that Real Madrid takes very seriously. So I think that given the speculation that existed, I'm not surprised that Real Madrid would want to kind of tone it down and make sure that Liverpool isn't sort of rattled by this. And the second reason is just that whenever Real Madrid's name is associated with any player, the price goes up, and that's something that Real Madrid has had to deal with forever. Whenever there's interest in a player, all of a sudden their price doubles. So I think killing the speculation at this point is probably a smart thing to do. I don't think that Real Madrid is going to do anything dramatic in the winter window, except the Enrique situation, which I'll talk about now. But come summer, it may be a different situation. But it appears that Real Madrid has made it clear to Liverpool that they're not going to be making a move for Konate in the winter window. Okay. I want to talk about the Chabi and Vini situation, because and this spills over into a broader discussion about the press in today's world. And I don't want to get too political or philosophical, but it really does bother me that last week I told you guys that all of these rumors about a mutiny and all this stuff was just grotesquely exaggerated by the press. And I want, what really bothers me, I want you to look at these pictures, okay? This is not, and by the way, this isn't even like after, there were scenes like this in the middle of the game and after the game of Vini and Chabi high-fiving and hugging. And what really pisses me off is that nobody in the press picks this up, right? In this country, every single headline for the last 2 weeks was the crisis in Madrid, and they're making up stories about issues with Vini and Chabi. But when they hug and when they high five and things are good, nobody covers it. It literally takes us a picture from somebody that was in the stands, a spectator, for us to see these things, because the mainstream press won't cover it because, I don't know, they have an agenda. They always want to try to destabilize Real Madrid. I have no idea what the incentive structure is in these places. But why isn't this reported on? Because isn't this huge news that the Vini thing is getting resolved, that there doesn't seem to be this kind of animosity that everybody was talking about? So that really kind of, bothers me. And I think, from a broader perspective, I'll keep this brief, but the mainstream press, I think, in every country in the world is hijacked by some sort of agenda or some sort of special interest. In the U.S., it's very, very clear. In this country, it's also pretty crystal clear. And, for all the negatives of social media, and there are a lot of, negative things that come with the rapid expansion of social media, the one good thing that does come out of it, it's that it's harder to hide the truth. And I think we see this in all areas of the world, in politics and current events. But it is harder and harder to lie and to hide the truth. And that's one good thing that did come out of social media. So God bless whoever took this picture, because I think it's very, very important. So you guys, whenever you hear all these rumors, because it wasn't just the mainstream press here, but a lot of the sort of YouTubers out there, especially the young ones who could have never seen this before, like, this has been going on for decades. Okay, the press trying to destabilize the club. This is not new. It might be new to some people, but it's not new to me. And it's been going on forever. So I think it's really important that when you hear this stuff, you take it all with a pinch of salt. Okay. Let's talk about the Enrique situation, and it does look like the negotiations with Olympique Lyonnais are continuing. But it's funny. You would have thought that something like this would have been sewn up rather quickly. But it's amazing the amount of details that go into these contracts, because they literally, depending on the number of matches that he starts, it kind of conditions the economics of the loan. And, you'd be amazed how much fine print and how much negotiation goes into the details of these things. But it does appear that Enrique, Olympique Lyonnais are still very interested in bringing him. I think it would be very good for him. I think what's happening to Enrique is somewhat inexplicable. You guys mention it in the comments section all the time, and I think you're 100% right. And I don't have the answer, and I've yet to hear a sensible explanation as to why Enrique gets so few minutes, because we all know the characteristics he has. So I think maybe, sending him on loan would not be a bad thing. A lot of our players on loan are doing unbelievably well. Look at Nico Paz at Como. I mean, the guy is lighting up the Serie A. He's the top scorer. He's the top assist playmaker. He's sometimes it's incredibly beneficial to send these players on loan and have them, strengthen their play, learn, gain experience, and then come back. So Enrique, I feel for him. He's a very young kid, and like I say, I was here at the presentation when we welcomed him, and I really feel for him. So I think this is something that could be very positive. I would never want to sell him, but I think it might make sense to let him go somewhere else where he can play and compete and develop as a player. So those negotiations are still ongoing. Okay, I want to talk to you guys about there was an interview with Laorta that was just surreal. I mean, you guys may not have seen it, but of course it's all over the press here. And I just find it, it's just unreal. Basically, this is something that you see a lot in politics as well, is I accuse my opponent of something that I do, but if I accuse them first, somehow it protects me and I look like, my hands are clean. This is, Laorta has the audacity to say that Real Madrid television, by showing replays of things, that they're intimidating refs. That we are intimidating and manipulating refs by showing replays, because that's all Real Madrid does, is show replays of things that have happened in the real world. So we're not making anything up. We're just showing replays. Well, that apparently is criminal. But you know what's not criminal? All these payments. All of these payments to Barça during the course of the last 20 years, you can't even read them. You can't even fit them on a page. That's how bad it is. All of those payments, which produced incredible statistical anomalies of penalties and red cards. Look at the red card statistics. Do you think this is normal? Do you think this is normal? In a league that's decided by 1 or 2 points, do you think that this differential is normal? And you don't think that this differential has anything to do with millions of dollars paid to the guy who is in charge of promoting and demoting refs in Spain. You don't think there's a correlation there? Okay, this is an insult to everyone's intelligence. But again, I don't know what planet these people live on. But, the court case is continuing, and Laorta can say whatever he wants to the press, but he's going to have to talk to a judge. And all this BS that he's trying to pour into the media, it's not going to fly in a courtroom. So, I wish him luck. Okay, let's move on to the Girona match. I found out today that apparently Asensio has a really bad stomach infection. These things can be pretty nasty. You guys will remember that Kylian, during the Club World Cup, had a stomach bug, and the guy lost like 10 pounds. And we're talking about players that weigh nothing, okay? Like, if you meet these players in person, they have no body fat. These guys are literally muscle tissue, bone, and skin. And water. That's it. They have no fat. Like, these players are very, very sensitive to sort of weight loss because they're very, very thin. They're kind of like, when you meet them in person, they're kind of like marathon runners. They have very, very little body fat. But Asensio apparently has a stomach issue. So, it is amazing to me that this defensive injury plague continues in Madrid. It's been going on for almost 3 years now. So Alaba is out, Militao is out, Rudiger is out, Huijsen is out, and now Asensio is out. So how do you make a lineup, taking this into consideration? I'm going to give you guys my best guess, but it's just a guess, and yours is as good as mine. I think Courtois will come back. I think he's probably better now, so I think we'll see Courtois in goal. I think Mendy will play left back. I think Carreras will have to play center back. I think Chabi will have to play center back. Otherwise, I just don't know who else is going to do it. Trent will probably play on the right. I think Fede and Camavinga, I think Camavinga is probably recovered at this point. He could only play 45 minutes the other day. I think Fede and Camavinga will probably, do some sort of double pivot or something similar. Jude and Arda, I think, will play a little bit further up. And then I think you'll have Vini and Kylian up front. That's my best guess. But with Chabi Alonso, you really never know, because this guy just loves to surprise us. So that's kind of what I expect. Now, Mendy, it could be Fran. It's also a possibility, but I kind of think he'll go with Mendy because I think he did okay the other day. But anyway, it's going to be, this is not the Girona of 2 years ago that was, played very, very good, quick football, very vertical football. This is a different Girona. They don't look nearly as good. And these are the kind of games that we have to win. There's just no excuse. There's no buts about this. We need to win this match, end of discussion. These are the matches that you need to win if you want to win La Liga, especially in a league where, by the way, I'm going to throw this in here. Just going back to the Laorta thing, because I forgot to mention this. To think that we are influencing refs, I just want to remind everyone of the Mallorca match in Barça. One of the defenders in Mallorca got a ball to the face and collapsed. Now, normally when that happens, the ref stops play to make sure that the player is okay, because there's an issue with concussions. That's something that's taken very seriously in sports these days. So because the ball ricocheted and fell to a Barça player, the ref just continued play. And Barça scored a goal while this guy was still collapsed on the ground. And it wasn't a 1 second thing. He was on the ground for like 30 seconds. It's unbelievable. And then they have the audacity to say we're influencing refs. By the way, do you remember this? This penalty, this was a penalty called and given to Barça when the Rayo player had one position of the ball. If there's any contact in this play, the foul is on Lamine. But of course, they gave the penalty to Barça, and the VAR was down. It wasn't working for 15 minutes, and it happened to coincide with the 15 minutes of this play. So this crap is still going on. So when I hear Laorta accuse us, it's what politicians do. I'm going to accuse them of what I do, and that way maybe I'll get away with it. But it's... Anyway, I have to mention it because this stuff drives me crazy. If you live in this country, it will drive you crazy, and apparently it's happening to me. Anyway, okay, the game is tomorrow night. We need a victory, no excuses, and that's the kind of lineup that I think. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Thanks for joining me. As always, love you guys, and as always and forever, a Madrid.